Okay, good morning. Today, inshallah, we will start working on the final chapter of the sales management course. As you can see, the title of this chapter is a leadership. I am sure you studied leadership before, especially in the course of Business Essential number 1 and Business Essential number 2. Therefore, let's start our discussion by asking this simple question. Define leadership. How can we define it? How can we define leadership? Hanin?
Ability to direct people's efforts toward achieving goals.
Excellent. So, Hanin said ability to direct others for achieving specific set of goals. Other definitions? ولا
Lead, monitoring, controlling the staff to do the specific work or job.
good. A third definitions. Function of management. Okay, good.
Have the ability to influence and inspire the action of people to accomplish goals.
Excellent. I was looking for the word influence. So leadership means ability to influence others. طلع based on ability of convincing others. Based on ability of convincing others. So if we would like to influence and inspire the other members of the team, we must be able to convince them of doing something. So if you are able to convince them, for sure they are going to obey you and they will follow you. But if you are missing this skill, which is called influencing others based on convincing, it's very difficult to direct and to manage and to lead the members of the team. So convincing here, it is a very essential and crucial word. And we should zoom the light on it. All the time, remember, convincing is something unique, a weapon which can be used by a leader, and by this weapon, he can lead and control the behavior of the members of the team. So, we should destroy the stereotype that leaders can lead the members of the team based on the power and the authority. This is a stereotype. This is false conception. What is more important is convincing. So let's go on. We will start the leader by talking about something called leadership skills. Well, as you can see in this figure, remember the leadership, it requires certain set of skills. Of course, what we are teaching you now, this is a model of one of the theories of leadership. If you are going to ask me how many theories of leadership we have in management or business administration, we have tens and tens. So this is just a sample. This sample is saying a leader should possess certain set of skills, including empowerment, which means encouraging others. Second, vision, knows where he or she is and where he or she is going to go. Third, self-understanding means a leader can identify and assess their own strength point and weakness point, or value congruence. In other words, the leader realizes in a very clear way what is the set of the values which are common and shared by every member within the team. Or finally, intuition. What's the meaning of intuition? الحدس. In other words, a quick reaction for the scenarios and the situations and the problems which might surround us. So all these are a certain set of skills that should be possessed by the character of a leader. Okay. Now, this is a scenario. I am going to give you 3 minutes. Read it quickly or tell me what is going on. After that, we will ask other questions about the scenario. Go on. 3 minutes. Okay, somebody. What's going on here?
Make some
Farah, go on.
Managers talking with an employee or
About.
making some for some incomplete work for her.
Exactly.
And just not blaming, nor just giving a notice that she should be aware about the reports and she should complete them.
Good. How many years did this employee worked with us? For about 6 years. And how the problem happened?
Because she's very busy.
Okay.
She
And
missed.
she bringing business to the company and she neglects other things like the reports.
Incomplete reports. Oh, this complaint, it was presented by the other colleagues. They raised a complaint letter to their supervisor or manager or leader, accusing this employee of not finalizing concerned reports regarding their own customer. What was the reaction of the leader or the manager?
Giving a motivation.
Exactly. What did he do
Go ahead,
with Jennifer?
no big deal, and I know that take care of it.
Okay, number one, encouraging. Now we are talking about the behavior of what? Of the leader or the manager. The manager encouraged Jennifer. How? By saying we are trusting you. By trying to find justifications for these incomplete reports. How did he find justifications? By saying, I know you are very busy. So here, number two, he is justifying the incomplete reports which were committed by Jennifer. Third, go on. He is providing Jennifer with a letter which is saying, we are trusting you that next time you are going to fix the problem. Clear? Four, giving her another letter which is, it's a pleasure to work with you. Correct? What do you think of this behavior of the manager toward this short-sighted performance employee? What do you think of this reaction? Is it good? Is it bad? Why? Who is saying good? Why? Why say good? Why? Farah?
Because sometimes any employee like her, she's been 6 years, they know her very well and they know what the things that she should be better at. And now she just made like a small mistake, so the leader or the manager just gave her the chance to recorrect her mistakes and to be better as before.
Excellent.
So this will give her a chance to be like awake for another
Excellent.
to the future.
طيب. Let's repeat. Go on, Sam. Sarah, sorry.
As Farah said, and also they dealing to each other as a friend, not the manager and the employee in the.
So we are not talking about gap or distance between the two.
Yes.
That's fine. Now listen. All these things is reminding us with the definition of the leadership. We are talking about influence. Imagine you were this employee. What is the impact of these words and sentences which were uttered by the mouth of the manager on your heart and on your mind? Are you going to like and respect your supervisor? Of course. Are you going to correct your mistakes?
Yes.
Of course. Are you willing to continue working under the command of this supervisor or manager? Of course. Because of this, we are saying the manager or the leader here adopted correct efforts and performances while dealing with this problem. In our Palestinian sector, sometimes managers might commit too many mistakes. Or they will say the best policy to correct any mistakes or problems is to raise the stick. Oh, this is wrong, absolutely wrong. Or to misuse the authority. Or to use the power of enforcement. Or to use the power of abusing. All these are mistaken behaviors. We should give them up. Okay? Go on. look at this scenario. Tell me what's going on. 2 minutes, quickly. Okay, what's going on here? Sarah.
One of salesperson in the company dealing with customer on telephone very bad without using the skills of salesperson.
The courtesy treatment. أظن courtesy treatment. بالضبط.
with the customer and
So the employee or the salesperson raised his voice over the customer. Who heard him or who listened to this? The manager. The manager decided to invite him to his office. Why? To tell him that your behavior is unacceptable. It is rejected by the policy of the firm. صح؟ طيب, what the manager or how the manager finalized or completed this bad scenario which he witnessed? Excellent. Excellent. So the leader, number one, identified the problem. Second, gave a clear instruction. Let's call it guidelines. With three, these guidelines led to solution. So the manager here or the leader, he is exhibiting and diagnosing the problem. He is providing us with the clear guidelines, which if we are going to use, we are going to solve this scenario or the problem. This is the leader. Well, the leader isn't going to leave the employee alone in this scenario. Or in other words, this manager, he might misbehave if he decided to invite this employee to the office and to raise his voice over this employee, saying to him, you are a bad salesperson, you are defaming the image of our company, well, then I am going to provide you with a warning. Well, that's it. Is this a solution for this scenario? No. Well, God knows this salesperson might face another scenario in the future. So do you think this salesperson is going to handle with the new scenario in a very nice way? We doubt it. Why? Because the leader didn't provide him with any guidelines, with any recommendations, with any steps to overcome any similar situation in the future. Clear? So the role of the leader is very big and wide. The role of the leader is a comprehensive. The role of the leader doesn't restrict it to the authority or the power which he or she can use, but it includes orientation, education, training, advice, recommendation, and so on. Farah, what would you like to say?
Even though the leader didn't say anything for the employees when he heard him about business, to take the business else somewhere, he said that's not the point. That means he wasn't concentrating on the customer
Exactly.
in the company.
Exactly.
He wanted to make sure that his salespeople are polite enough.
Exactly. And we are focusing on the policy. This is priority number one for us as a sales company. Good. Listen, these are assertiveness steps which should be adopted by the sales manager. Here we are providing you with some information like describe what you see is going on. We can use this quote and so on. Try to read them at home. Well, let's go to another thing. Now, let's begin our discussion by asking you this similar question. Do you believe in the change? Or do you like the change? Where, when we are saying do you like the change, we are not talking hypothetically. We are not talking in theory. I am talking actually. In other words, in your character, in your blood, in your daily work, or in your daily life, do you like or do you love or do you prefer this to change? Yes, no, why? If you are going to ask me the same question, I might tell you, Allah, I like routine. Oh, this is real.
Yes.
Somebody is going to say, "But why?" Because listen, a human being, they like something called certainty. In certainty, we are not going to witness or face surprises. In other words, the surprises and the things which we cannot predict, their probability is going to be very limited. So this is going to give us with the feeling of safety. Oh, this is very important. With the feeling of safety is something nice which every human being is looking for. But sometimes it change. If it is going to intervene in this scenario, the level of certainty is going to be decreased. Or if it got decreased, the level of safety will decrease as well. Or this is going to increase the feel of fear in the heart and in the mind of the human beings. Because of this, the majority of the human beings, they do not like to change. This is the truth, which we can witness among all the people all over the world. Clear? Okay, so these things, we are going to talk about change management process. We are going to begin with a questionnaire. Well, I want to implement this questionnaire in you in real. In other words, we are going to use Likert scale. Likert scale, as you know, it consists of 5 parts. It begins from SA, strongly agree, and it ends by SD, strongly disagree. A question mark, it refers to undecided, محايد. A, agree, D, disagree. Now, this is a questionnaire. The questionnaire is consisting of 18 sentences. I want you to read them. We try to answer or to make an answer for them. In other words, sentence number 1, I try new ideas and new approaches to problems. Try to evaluate yourself in real, not according what should be done, but according what you are doing actually in your daily life. Try to use one of these answers. For example, I might say, for example, this thing. Another person might say this thing for the second sentence, and so on. Begin. These are 6 sentences. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to answer them quickly. Give the answer. Write the letter down. In other words, write sentence number 1, for example. Sentence number 2, and so on, quickly. Remember, try to reflect these sentences according to your actual life. Sentence number 2, I take things or situation apart to find out how they work. It's easy. Number 3, I can be counted on. I can depend on by my friends to find a new use for existing methods. In other words, my friends are going to run after me to find a solution for this scenario. This is the meaning of sentence number 3. Go on. After you are done, tell me you are done. Somebody is going to say this is applicable within the employees who are working in firms. No. Also, this is applicable on us in daily life. If you do not understand one of the sentences, raise your hand. 5, I demonstrate originality. Originality means innovation. Originality means asala. In other words, all the time I am adopting new techniques and methods and approach which weren't experimented or used by others. Originality, asala. Demonstrate, prove, show. Done? Done? Okay, another 6. Quickly. If you do not understand one sentence, raise your hand. Write down the number and write down your answer. That's it. Shy. In other words, if my friends were asked, they would say I am what? Shy, hesitant to respond, hesitant to participate. Why here? It refers to the action of each friend. Done? 11. I seldom, I rarely stick to the rules or follow protocol. In other words, a protocol and rules and norms are not sacred. Sometimes I can avoid them. It depends on the situation in which I am in. Finished? Done? Go to the final set of the questions. Final set. Which sentence, Hanin? I probably will not turn down ambiguous job assignments. Turn down, leave, ignore, avoid. On contrary, I'm going to visit them. Fifteen, Iman, people who depart, leave from the accepted organizational routine should not be punished. Quickly, يلا. As we said, this isn't only applicable on the employees in organization, also it is applicable on us. We are dealing with our families as organization. We are dealing with our colleagues and the classmates as organization. We are dealing with the friends in the neighborhood as organization. We will demonstrate this after a while. Done? Now, done? As A, evaluated by 5 points. As D, evaluated by 1 point. Well, this is 4, 3, 2. We try to calculate your answer quickly. Try to calculate your answer. كمان مرة فاتي. Strongly agree 5 points. Agree 4 points. Undecided 3 points. Disagree 2 points. As D, strongly disagree 1 point. Now try to calculate your answers out from the 18 sentences. Out from the 18 sentences. Well, 18 sentences, as we said, they are the whole phrases or sentences of the questionnaire. Done? Look at these two scores, 72, with second one, 45. If your score is over 72, this means you are originator. This means you believe and you like and you do change. But if your score is less than 45, this means you are addicted to routine, or you do not want to change anything in your life. Now the question is the following. Who got over 72? Over 72. Farah? Okay, who got down 45? 45? معناته you are a bureaucratic. Okay, other questions? Okay. Iman, what was your grade? 68. Okay, it depends. Good. Another one. 68, by the way, it is close to 72. 64?
61. 66.
Okay, who are in the 60s? In 50s? 50s. 40s? 40s. You are too worried. This means you are excited. You are full of anxiety. You worry too much. And therefore you are planning also too much. To avoid what? Or to decline the level of uncertainty. But listen here. Let's begin with you, Amna. Do you think, is this questionnaire expressing your character? Actual character? You worry too much. You plan too much. You do not want to fail. Not exactly. What about you? Gone. It expresses your character, and you? Almost. Iman?
Yes, I feel that it should express my personality 100%.
Okay. Any question, any comments about the questionnaire? Move on. Let's conclude now. Now we are going to talk about the 4 styles of leadership. These 4 styles, they are determined by 2 variables. Variable number 1, we called it supportive behavior. Variable number 2, we called it directive behavior. Now, variable number 1, which is called supportive behavior, sometimes it can be high and sometimes it can be low. With the same thing with the directive behavior. Sometimes it can be high and sometimes it can be no. The outcome of the interaction between these 2 variables are going to be 4 styles of leadership. In other words, if the manager is having in his style or behavior a very low directive behavior and a very low supportive behavior, this means that style is going to be delegation. In other words, this manager likes to delegate his authorities to the rest of the members of the team. The opposite of this style is selling. In other words, the style of leadership, it is going to be named to be a selling one, which means the manager or the supervisor has a very high directive behavior, has a very high what? Supportive behavior. With selling behavior means the salesperson can do whatever he would like to do. If he committed a mistake, he will be supported. Or later on, he will be directed. Everything can be done and exercised by the salesperson. Or this style, we called it what? Selling. In telling, it means what? Supervisor or manager, they like to tell instructions and guidelines for salespersons. Because of this, in telling, we are talking about what? A high level of direct behavior. But it is low supportive. In other words, the telling style means if the salesperson will be provided with the instructions, guidelines, and advices. But if he or she committed a mistake, they will not be supported enough. In other words, they must be punished. Clear? Supporting one means the salesperson or the manager is going to exhibit a very high level of supportive behavior in contrast with low level of directive behavior. Or this style, we called it what? In other words, our leader or manager is supporting us too much. And at the same time, He is believing in our abilities, and because of this, he or she does not provide us with too many instructions or directions or whatever. These are the 4 styles of leadership based on supportive behavior and directive one. This is important. Any question, any comments? Move on finally. Now we are going to talk about the team. With the team, or we called it the group. The team or the group, it is going to be founded on 4 major factors. Number 1, activities. In other words, if you like reading and I like reading, we can be friends within one team. If you like this kind of meal or food, we can be friends. We use the word can or may. Why? We didn't finalize the answer. Because we are still waiting the answer of the other factors. This is the meaning of what? So activities that refer to the common activities which are in common among a group of employees, among a group of individuals, among a group of human beings. A second factor means interaction. In other words, we can interact with one another. If you are going to have a happy event, I'm going to congratulate you. If you are going to have a sad event, I might condole you. So we are talking about what? Interaction. The same thing we are talking about sentiment. Well, sentiment is based on hate and love feelings. If there is a love, this might be what? A formation of unity and team. If there is a hate, this might break down the team. Well, finally, we are talking about norms. The norms, it determine your behavior. What is acceptable and what is unacceptable. Well, listen here. Not every behavior you are going to do is acceptable in the eyes of the others. Well, not every behavior of the others might be acceptable in your eyes. But if you are going to find a common norms which can justify one unified acceptable behavior, this is going to be another indicator for forming a team or group. So if all these things are agreed with one another, then we are going to have the birth which is called team or a group. If one of the team or the group decided to interact differently or decided to be involved in a second team activities, this might be a withdrawal of this member from the team. Somebody is going to say, why we are teaching you this? Because we are talking about leaders and we are talking about managers. Well, leaders and managers, later on, they are going to have the responsibility of forming teams. So we should be able to know or identify who are the best members who can work together as a team. And who are the people who cannot work with one another as a team. This is important. Any question or comments? Next time we are going to continue with leadership factors in sales management. Any question? Thank you very much.